Howdy there, it's me, Kailey, and I'm excited to have my brother on with me today. We're going to be talking about some things that he sees as concerns in girls' lives, even Christian girls' lives, and I don't know, I feel like this is kind of a tender, maybe even scary subject. We're gonna have to tread lightly, but I also know that Caleb's going to give us the truth. He's going to lay down the facts. That's something I really admire about my brother. Like, I've grown up with him. I've seen him at his best. I've seen him at his worst. And coming out on the other end, I really admire the person that he is. And it's going to be great to have him share his wisdom with us today. So, what is probably one of the major things that you see in girls' lives that is a problem?
Alright, so first of all, Kailey has just said a whole lot of nice things about me. I don't want to accuse her of lying, but may have been some half-truths in there. I don't want any high expectations from this. I'm just a farm kid.
He's very humble.
I don't think that's a fair thing to say. But to answer the question, that's a complicated subject, but to start with an easier one for me, I think that girls are very, very shallow.
Ouch!
Yeah, I think that they aren't focusing on things in life that are actually what they need to be focusing on. Now, I say that with the little thing of, I think that everybody, girls and guys, are not focusing on things that they need to be focusing on, and instead they're chasing after fleeting things like popularity, or maybe what gets them attention, what's fun, and again, not bad things altogether, but when you build your life around things like that, you're going to have some serious problems on the back end of that. You're going to find eventually, I always like to go to on your deathbed, you're going to find that that wasn't worth living for. And really, I think that there is a much deeper meaning to life than what we see people living for these days, and I think that that's part of why we don't have joy. We see depression, and it's just hard to see maturity in people, and we'll just say girls, especially right now.
Well, to add to that, it's kind of expected of us at the same time.
Fair enough.
We live in an age where social media, where fun and avoidance of work is very easily accessed, and it's also expected of us, as I said, especially those of us who are younger, in our teens or early 20s, because it's kind of, people kind of say, oh, well, you're just figuring out life, it's just expected.
Oh yeah. You don't know I'm doing this, but actually right now I'm working on a video. It's called Do Boys Really Take 7 More Years to Grow Up Than Girls? And in that, I'm not going to give the answer to that.
Well, I think we can say right now it's true. Boys do take 7 years long.
No, I did say things in there that show that I do not believe that girls are not, girls are the problem. So I'll just give it that. I'm not blaming this all on girls. I just want to repeat that one more time.
Okay, that's fair. Sure. All right. So, do you have anything else to add to that, or should I ask you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. What's another thing? What's another issue that you see girls struggling with?
Well, I think that girls spend a lot of time chasing after guys.
What? We all know that's not true.
I know. And it's not, there's actually something that I think girls get right in that, and that may sound surprising, but I think that it's, marriage is a good thing. I think that pursuing that is a good thing, and girls tend to do that a lot more than boys, which I think is the natural order of things. well, like from a younger age, what does a 7-year-old girl want to be?
Yeah, really, what's her dream?
What does the 7-year-old boy want to do? He wants to be a astronaut, which is fine. I think that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think that that's led to girls chasing after boys, we'll just say through the teens, early 20 years, and they're spending so much time chasing after boys when they should be focusing on the calling that God has for them as a single person. And this is not just girls, boys do this too, but I just think that girls spend a lot of time thinking about boys and chasing after boys, and it leads to them having an improper view of boys. And I again, this goes both ways, but they start to think of boys in terms of, does he make a good boyfriend? And then that leads to negative thinking habits, which makes it very difficult to actually have a meaningful, mature conversation with a girl, because if they don't think you're a good boyfriend, then they're moving on to the next one. If they think you're a good boyfriend, then they're not going to have a deep conversation with you.
Okay, so your overall problem was that girls are chasing guys, right?
Right.
Okay, so do you also think that it could be a problem where, say there's this girl and she sees a guy she likes and she chases after him, asks him out on a date, is always texting him and getting him to be with her, and then she ends up catching the guy, marrying him. What do you think this is going to do for this marriage at the start when we've kind of begun it like that, where the girl is pretty much taking initiative in every area, she's pretty much the leader, and now suddenly we're expecting the guy to be the leader in the marriage, which is the way God really designed it to be. But I just think that would be kind of hard in such a situation where, girl being so desperate did take initiative and didn't let that guy have that initiative.
Right, that's a good point. It is true. It is taking something valuable from that guy. He needs to take that initiative, and you're right. It's not going to set up the relationship for a good healthy relationship. It's also can be a sign that this is a weak dude. If you take control of the situation at the beginning, don't expect him to just jump in and start leading afterwards. You may think that what you want is to lead, but you're going to want a strong husband eventually,
All right, so I'm going to ask you for your third and final point, and I don't know, I feel like this one might be a little bit argumentative, that some people might have problems with it, but I respect your opinion and I want you to go for it. So what is that?
I think that girls are, in general, independent to the point of being dangerous to themselves. I know. And it's like, he just crushed girl power. He's this chauvinistic, awful man who thinks that men are better than girls.
And we're not going to listen to him and we're done with him.
I know. No, but I'm serious. So what I mean by that, I think that girls and women in general have been pushed into this lie where they think that they need to be that their strength looks the same as a man's strength.
It's called feminism.
It's called feminism. And in doing that, we see a lot of women who are stepping into roles that men were created to fill. And in so doing that, I believe that that's dangerous to themselves. And I'm not saying that women always do a poor job in these roles. There's actually some who do well in these roles, quote unquote. But at the same time, when they step into these roles, I don't even want to get into what I'm talking about here, because if I start talking about specific roles, I'm going to get lots of pushback. But when they start stepping into these roles, I just look and I'm like, you're not doing what God's really designed you to do, and you may think that you are successful, but you're hurting yourself.
Can I bring up one example? One example that and we can cut this out if we need to, but woman preachers.
Yes.
That is one thing where the Bible doesn't it does not let, what am I trying to say? The Bible commands men to be the biblical teachers and leaders.
That's right. And there's so much that goes into that. It's not that a woman's never preached a hard-hitting message, or
that they can't share the gospel, or they can't mentor others, or they can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Or they can't fellowship after church because they're not permitted to speak in church. But seriously, when you do that, men are supposed to be the leaders. You take that away from men, that makes weak men. And it's not good for men. It's also not good for women, because again, like I said, they're not fulfilling that calling. They may think that they're doing great, but they're hurting themselves. Yeah. I'm kind of the tactical dude, so I'm gonna take this into this area for just a second.
Yes, do. I love when you talk about this.
So I think that girls are very overconfident in their abilities to take care of themselves, and it's not that girls need guys' help for everything, but there are situations where where I see girls, they put themselves in these situations all the time, and I know they cannot take care of themselves. They just can't. If something went south, they couldn't take care of themselves. I did a whole series on, ladies' self-defense, and I believe that ladies can take care of themselves in a lot of situations, but if you're putting yourselves in dangerous situations because you think you're tough, you think that you got girl power, which is fine, but you're putting yourself in these situations. It's like, no, I know you can't do that. It's like tactics go so far, but sometimes you need to be more careful. Be careful about what kind of situations you're putting yourself into.
Well, I really want to thank Caleb for taking the time out of his day to share all of this with us, and I found it really helpful. I hope you did, and I really want this to be a conversation, so if you have any thoughts, I would encourage you to leave those down in the comments, and we will talk more there, and see you in the next video. Bye!
Bye!